ready to go?
Yes, we are getting folks filing in.
There we
Dan.
go. Yes, we love the early arrivers, right? Dan Norman, don't you have a special place in your heart for people who show up to a webinar a couple of minutes early?
I'm a 5 minutes early type of guy, and that's the way I grew up. So if you're, 5 minutes early is on time.
How about you, Jagadish? When do you show up to a webinar?
Right on time. I should be being very honest.
I like that. How about you, Michael Walton?
My heart is with Dan Norman there, but my calendar is not. My calendar is last minute jumping in.
I love it. All right, Turbocharged Sales Hub participants and webinar attendees, thank you so much. We're going to start 1 minute after the hour because we appreciate you being here early. Amazing. Okay, Arkansas, there we go. Thank you. Saratoga, California, Paradise Valley. All right, Dan, very nice.
Ooh, it is cold in Cleveland.
Saratoga. Where else? Cleveland? Oh, my goodness, I love it. Austin, Texas, where it's not so cold. Portland, Oregon. Toronto, Canada. Amazing. Mountain View. Awesome. Norwalk, Connecticut.
Puerto Rico.
Oh, okay. It isn't. You were right, Michael Walton. You're always right. Amazing. Incredible. Okay. And there's some Q&A, which is good. We have both chat and Q&A. All right. So this is 2 minutes after the hour. We want to thank people who are showing up on time. We want to be professional about delivering a lot of content and information because Philip, our producer, Philip Levinson, is like tired. No fluff. You got room for like one joke. You guys want more content or jokes? Put in the chat pane, more content or jokes. Right. I know the answer to this one all the time, but right. I got my marching orders. I'm going to stay on message. Multiple people from Portland, multiple people from Toronto, Brecksville, Ohio. I knew that. I knew that. All right. HubSpot and Mobileforce. Go to the next slide there, Philip. Thank you so much for joining us. Put it in the chat pane now that it's been enabled. What's your team's biggest challenge or question related to sales or quoting processes going into 2025? Right? This is a really good question. You can tell this is not a Dan Tyre question. This is a Dan Norman or a Jagadish or a Michael Walton question because it's thoughtful. It's not like what town are you sitting in or where you're going. And it's very, very valuable because like when you see, and I introduce these guys, right? Amazing, thoughtful. I know. Michelle, how long do you have? Just one. Fashion the question that you have. And we're going to cover a lot of stuff, right? And we want to make sure we're delivering the information in the way that we are going to deliver it, right? And we want to make sure that we get everything that we can. There's a boatload of impressive speakers in this webinar. Great content. Philip says no fluff. The last thing we need in December is fluff. Maybe one joke. All right, I'm going to tell one joke. What did the janitor say when he jumped out of the closet? Supplies. All right. What do you think? Are you going to use that, Michael? I know you're going to use it. You got a 6-year-old. You're going to use it. All right.
I'm going to steal it.
All right. Breeze isn't that good with dad jokes, right? Which kind of surprised me because it's like Dharmesh's wheelhouse, but that's my good joke. All right. And let me introduce like an all-star cast. My name is Dan Tyre. I'm a founder and CEO of Tire Angel and a 17-year HubSpot veteran, transitioned to illustrious alumnus on January 5th, 2024. We have Michael Walton, the GM and VP of Product for Sales Hub, who's like just a nice guy and super smart and understands the background and the foundation of Sales Hub in mid-market and enterprise, and is really a good resource. And then Jagadish Banghole is the CEO and founder, a technical founder of Mobileforce, and taught me everything I know really about CPQ and revenue lifecycle management, right? Which is it's an emerging trend and really, really important. And we're going to dig into that today. And then my buddy Dan Norman, right, in a button-down shirt. I don't always see him in a button-down shirt. Usually he's rocking a HubSpot shirt, but he's damn impressive. And he's going to talk about implementation of a Sales Hub and Mobileforce in mid-size and enterprise accounts. All right, how did I do in that one? Anybody dissatisfied with their bio in the in the beginning slide? Put in the chat pane if you don't like it. And go to the next slide there, Phil. All right, so there's, no, that one, the agenda slide. I got like 2 minutes, and then I'm going to go on mute, right? All of this build up for like 2 minutes. And then we have Michael, who's going to talk about Sales Hub for mid to large organizations. And then once again, Jagadish is going to dig into CPQ and some of the things that he's learned. Dan's going to talk about implementing. And the goal of the presentation is to come away with you understanding the basics of why this is such an important topic today in December of 2024 and actionable steps of what you can do. And then we want to make sure that there's a moderate amount of Q&A. And if there are people who want to really drill down on it, we'll stay a little bit late. All right. Does this look like a good agenda? Put in the chat pane if this looks like a good agenda. Yes, agenda, no agenda. Quick, quick, quick. Got to move. I'm over my allotted time. All right. Polani says yes. Piro says yes. Michelle says yes. Jamie says yes. All right. So far, we're hitting it out of the park. I love it. All right. So, good agenda. Boom. Oh, let me introduce Mike. All right. So, Michael Walton, GM and VP of Product Leader, Sales HubSpot for 5 years. Mike, can you tell us a little bit about Sales Hub Pro and Enterprise for mid-market?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. I appreciate it. And then thanks for introing me, everyone. It's wonderful to, well, not see you, but like work with you, talk with you in this. I know most of the folks here on the webinar today are familiar with HubSpot and mostly Marketing Hub, maybe likely a little bit less so with Sales Hub. So my goal with all of this is to help fill that knowledge gap and give you all this deeper understanding of Sales Hub and how we can help those larger, more scaling, sophisticated sales organizations. So just quickly to think about it, at a high level, Sales Hub, just like Marketing Hub, it's an AI-powered engagement tool that's built natively on top of HubSpot Smart CRM. So it gets all those amazing benefits of HubSpot platform, the unified data, unified teams, the powerful customization and extensibility, and leverages all of those benefits to help scaling sales teams solve for their biggest challenges. Before I can go deeper into like how Sales Hub solves those problems, we should probably be clear on like what we're hearing are those problems for large scaling sales teams today. So when we talk to sales leaders out there, here's actually what we hear. Next slide for me, Phil. We hear that like engagement is down with buyers. It's harder for them to connect. They're being inundated with a ton of personalized or unpersonalized, untargeted outreach. As a result of that, they're seeing that overall sales team performance is down and their teams are struggling to meet quotas. Adding insult to injury on top of all of that, we're hearing that budgets are stagnant and hiring is historically hard. So all of that's just making it really challenging for sales leaders out there, both to reach their goals and to achieve this like ideal predictability that they all want. And while it's hard out there, there are some leaders out there that are being effective in this environment. And the way that they're able to do this is by finding ways to create better connections with their prospects. Next one for me here. And we hear that when we're talking to them that just when we talk to them about like why they're being successful, we find out just they're simply operating differently, right? They're focused on quality of engagement over quantity of engagement. They're focused on outcomes over activities, and they've really nailed helping humans solve actual problems versus just simply out there pushing product that they have. Next one for me. They're these teams, the ones that are being successful, they're seeing human beings, they're seeing the human being behind the prospect, and they're leading with empathy to understand their challenges, diagnose problems, and uncover new insights for them. They've basically taken this old way of doing things, and they've seen this old sales productivity equation, which is about just doing more and getting better results, so doing more activities, adding more reps, and just seeing their number goes up. They've recognized that that's wrong and that it's simply not working anymore and that it's commoditized. And instead, what these sales teams are doing is they're operating in a new way. There you go. The playbook that they're using right now, it's focusing on, it's performing the right activities for the right prospect at the right time. And rather than just like adding more reps, it's about enabling the existing reps that they have to be more efficient, to be more effective, specifically by properly leveraging AI. And this right here, you see, this is the equation that they're using, that all these successful sales teams in the tough environment today that they're using to actually help themselves grow. And this is exactly how Sales Hub can help your teams operate better and be more effective. What it means that is Sales Hub brings all the sales data, tools, and teams together into the single unified and built from the ground up sales platform. It's easy for reps to adopt. It automates the time-consuming tasks and enabling the teams to spend more time actually connecting with the prospects as opposed to doing mundane busy work. And it's more than just time saving, right? It provides all the context and insight that reps need to deepen the customer connections, to personalize their approach, and provide value to the prospects. More explicitly, Sales Hub is really about helping your teams do two things: build more pipeline and win more deals. Let's go deeper into each of those really quickly, because this is what y'all want to see. First up is sales prospecting. This is the lifeline that keeps your business growing. It's where you turn actual prospects that you have into pipeline. And with the smart solutions we offer at Sales Hub, sellers can quickly connect with their prospects via tools like our connected inbox or live chat, even the mobile app. They can level up the productivity with things like meeting scheduling, automated sequence, flexible sales playbooks, and seamless lead handoffs. And thanks to the power of AI, which is enhanced because we're leveraging HubSpot's world-class unified data platform, they can intelligently score leads and accounts. They execute their meetings flawlessly leveraging AI, and they can better personalize their outreach. We're also seeing that teams that are held back by capacity constraints, they can put their prospecting efforts on autopilot with our AI prospecting agent here as well. So that's how Sales Hub builds pipeline for you. Now, in terms of selling, everyone wants to close more deals. And they want to, next slide over. Yeah, everyone wants to close more deals and wants to close them more quickly. And that's what we do with our AI-powered deal management tools. So sellers get this holistic view of their prospects and customers thanks to HubSpot's deeply customizable and extensible smart CRM. They can focus on the right opportunities at the right time, leveraging things like predictive deal scoring and AI-powered recommended, or we call AI-powered guided actions. And last, they can just be incredibly efficient with their AI-powered deal insights and highly flexible sales process automation tools. So last one here for me, but we believe Sales Hub is the best solution out there for these large and scaling sales teams. We find it's easy to adopt thanks to this amazing user experience we offer. It offers incredibly fast time to value thanks to this highly customizable and extensible platform that was built from the ground up for ease of use. And it offers the most unified view of your prospects and your customers, which helps gives your reps the context and insights they need to make better connections with the prospects. And look, don't take my word for it. Here's some actual results our upmarket customers are seeing. They're seeing that they're able to create 28% more pipeline. They're increasing close rates by over 100%. And they close 55% more deals. And all of this was within the first year of bringing Sales Hub on board. So I know that was super quick. I ran through it fast. If you're interested in learning more or have more questions about it, happy to jump on them in the QA for everybody.
Hold on a second, Michael. There was a question in the question list. Some people think that HubSpot and Sales Hub is for small companies, and the logos you have there, they don't look like small companies.
Yeah, it's a good call out, and it's one of the reasons I was really interested in doing this webinar to help dispel that notion, because it's this common misconception that HubSpot only serves small customers. We actually serve a fairly large and growing number of large upmarket businesses. It's our fastest growing segment by a large stretch when you look at the Sales Hub business, and Sales Hub Enterprise is our largest addition by a fair amount. So the way I'd phrase it instead of like focusing on necessarily the size of the company, because we scale up to many thousands of seats and organizations on that side, I'd say that I'd frame it as HubSpot is just really good for fast growing companies or companies with like an ambition to grow fast. Our platform is just specifically designed to help those folks there. So if you really care about scale growth, we're good. It's less to me about like big upmarket or downmarket.
Amazing scale. That's what I like. And the issue is friction at these organizations, that it's harder to like work through all those things. Great presentation. Excellent. Thank you very much. And Michael, you're going to stick around for questions to the end, right?
Of course.
Okay, that's good, because I just told everybody you're going to do that. All right, our second speaker is Jagadish Bandal, the CEO and founder of Mobileforce, with decades of experience leading mission-critical tech companies. Jagadish, you're going to explain a little bit about Mobileforce with the no-code, low-code experience for mid-market and enterprise.
Thanks, Ran. So I'm going to pick up where Michael left here. Talked about top of the funnel, getting into the opportunity management, and how Sales Hub helps upmarket customers deal with the complexities of getting the deal through the cycle, various aspects. I'm going to pick up from when you have an opportunity in the CRM, how do you now progress it further? Code to close, right? Specifically, I'm going to talk a little bit about also code to cash. I'll do that later. But what I want to talk about here is the whole RLM, revenue lifecycle management, configure, price, quote. That might probably take an hour to talk about all the various facets of it. But I want to highlight a few key things we hear over and over again from larger customers that we worked with, specifically around how do we deal with complex products and configuration rules. Most of these types of customers have things like bundles and different kinds of products and pricing rules. So they need a system that can actually handle that, right? We are seeing a lot of subscription-based pricing, usage-based pricing. That's very common now. So a system that will help them effectively and quickly quote and move those quotes into a contract is very highly desirable. It's something that's in demand. But one of the things that I also hear quite a bit is along with subscription pricing, and subscription pricing is not related to only SaaS companies, right? All kinds of industries are innovating with subscription-based pricing. We hear that even in manufacturing industries nowadays, right? So in those kinds of scenarios, you're not only interested in quoting subscription line items and products, but also, if you have tangible products, physical goods, hardware that you sell, you have non-recurring line items like professional services and other things. You want to be able to quote all of that in one single proposal. So there's a great deal of desire in ease of use of that process. And whenever you talk about subscription, you have things like amendments and renewals and multiple levels of approvals. So these are some of the key things that we hear from the context of RLM. So opportunities there in the CRM. How do you now quickly size it, price it, quote it, and move it to contract? It's really all about that. Sales Hub and Mobileforce combination gives you a very robust platform to actually move those things quickly through the sales cycle and accelerate that quote to contract by as much as 80%. Let's keep moving. A few more things that I want to highlight here in the next slide is beyond pricing and quoting, there's also this interest in how do you actually share what you price and quote with the customer, that customer touch point, the customer interaction. How do you kind of make it seamless? How do you make the buying experience very, very seamless and easy to use? And that there's a lot of focus in the industry around that, providing the ability for customers to be able to self-evaluate solutions, interact with quotes or proposals very easily, go through the whole negotiation process back and forth with your seller or trusted advisor very easily in a more self-service manner. So there's a lot of focus around that. And what comes out of that is the whole contracting experience. You like the quote, you want to sign on the dotted line, you do that, you get the quote and contract out, but then what happens after that? How do you seamlessly move that to delivery, to billing, to payments, and other kinds of things? So those are some of the considerations that we see. Last but not the least, I want to talk about the mobile aspect of it. Post-pandemic, there's a great deal of requirements we are getting now where people are up and about in the field. They want to be productive wherever they are, not just in front of their desktops, whether they're in front of their computer, whether they're up and about at a customer premise, whether they have a phone or a tablet. They want to be able to transact wherever, whenever. And that means mobility is very important. So there's a lot of focus around that. So these are some of the key considerations that we've heard over and over again in larger upmarket kind of environments. We as a team, HubSpot and Mobileforce, we are very focused on meeting these needs, and we have a combined solution that addresses many of these things. I want to double click on a few of these in the next slides. First and most important, your salespeople live in the CRM. You want to make sure that it's a seamless experience and they never have to leave the HubSpot UI. And that's how our solution is designed. It's natively integrated into HubSpot. It's single sign-on. You don't need to remember different credentials. It's seamless from the point of deal or opportunity management all the way to quoting and contracting. So moving on to the next slide, and that makes things simple. So you don't have too many swivel chairing and cutting and pasting and all that. You move into a quoting session that is intelligent, where it automatically picks up which kind of customer or deal you're working on. It automatically pre-populates everything that you already know about a deal. It shouldn't have to ask you any of those things. It populates all of that. It knows who you are as a salesperson. It knows what deal you're working on. It knows all the pre-quote information questions that, questionnaires or information that you collected from the prospective customer. It uses that as a guided selling mechanism where it will actually navigate that and automatically even recommend products and services that you can start to quote with. So you don't have to start from scratch. You start from something that's already pre-populated, and that's yet another thing that actually improves productivity, moves things along. Moving along to the next one, it also has a pretty intelligent engine to auto-validate. We live in the world of AI. Everything we do is assisted, and wherever we can leverage AI, we want to leverage it, whether it's for product recommendations, whether it is for as a co-pilot to kind of sit alongside the sales rep and keep validating that everything that they're entering. One of the most important things we hear over and over again from our customers, especially larger customers, is they want confidence that everything that comes out of the CRM and the CPQ system is accurate, compliant, and fulfillable. Because if that's not, then they got to go back, and there's a lot of work for deal desk to go back and correct things later, and that slows down the sales cycle. So and the key to making sure that quotes are compliant, accurate, and fulfillable is catch all errors right at the source, or don't let sellers inadvertently misconfigure quotes or make errors because something doesn't go with something else, or something needs to be configured right. So all of those things are automatically validated and corrected through the system. Moving on to the next one here. Once you get through that, one of the biggest challenges that we see over and over again, even in this day and age, is of multiple levels of approvals. Because the more complex a deal gets, the more stakeholders are involved, and the more people need to look at it and approve it. And not everything is sequential. And sometimes you, as a seller, you want to get the deal done. So which means you want to make sure all your approvals are done as quickly as possible. At the same time, making sure that the right people look at it and make sure that they approve it. And so this means you need a system that can deal with both sequential approvals, parallel approvals, escalated approvals, and all of that kind of stuff. So a robust approval engine is important. It's almost a must-have. And it needs to work in conjunction with all of your rules. Once you get all of those things approved, the next step typically is getting it to a contractual process, right? Get the deal, get the T's and C's, get it in a presentable format, generate a document and a contract that has all the pieces of it. Enable digital signatures. You can enable digital signatures built in a solution, but we also work with HubSpot, has lots and lots of app ecosystem partners, complementary tools that are available there that gives you a total solution, a whole that's much better than the sum of the parts, right? That's the whole idea. So if you are using an e-signature platform like a DocuSign or an Adobe EcoSign or something else, and you want to use that, yep, it plugs right in, and those integrations are already enabled, and you could use that. Moving forward to the next slide. Once all of that is done, what's most important is you share something with the customer. You go back and forth. You have different versions: option A, option B, option C. These are natural things that sellers go through in terms of presenting options to their prospective clients. They go through the discussion and collaboration, enable that, and then once the client chooses one of those options, you want to make sure that you have an easy way to commit that back into your CRM, your system of record. So all of that information goes back into the deal. All those line items goes back into the CRM. So your forecasting is up to date, it's accurate, and you know exactly what the customer chose. But more importantly, what comes out of this also is renewals, amendments, upsells, and cross-sells. That happens all the time. So once you committed this, you have an ability to now automatically trigger renewals. You have the ability to pull historical information into an amendment and very quickly start off from where you had closed and amend existing subscriptions or existing contracts very easily. So these are some of the important considerations that I wanted to highlight. There's a lot more. We would love to double click on it, continue the conversation. But from this, from the context of this webinar, I just wanted to highlight the key aspects of upmarket needs that we see again and again in Sales Hub and CPQ joint, customer base.
Amazing. And thank you very much for that overview. Attendees, put in the chat pane on a scale of 1 to 10, where is your current configuration, quoting, and delivering to the customer? Where would you grade it? 10 being the best CPQ ever, and 1 being it needs a little work. I'm very interested in this. The chat pane is blowing up, right? Michelle wants to know about forecasting and reporting, which you can either answer after Dan goes, Jagadish, in the Q&A thing. But Michelle, thank you for that question. That's very, very helpful, right? Russ says he's an 8. That's good. Everybody else put in, right? As a salesperson, sales manager, sales executive, it's one of the biggest friction points that we see, right? Because in your head, you think that it's easy. A customer wants the quote, but they don't always buy what they ask that they want it. And sometimes there's changes, and then it goes to the CFO and there are other changes. And Dan is going to talk all about that. But Jagadish, there was another question about what is the most complex kind of customer that you've ever worked with different price sheets and price catalogs and product catalogs.
Yeah, absolutely. We have worked with all sizes. One of the largest ones that comes to mind is we've got a manufacturing and distribution customer, which is they've got over 500,000 SKUs. So it scales quite a bit. I mean, they're literally tens of thousands of customers. They are doing more than 3,000 quotes and orders per day through our system. So it can scale up there. Again, we also have smaller customers who may not have as many products in the catalog, but the complexity comes from a different way. Complexity comes more in terms of pricing and pricing schemes, volume-based pricing, tiered pricing, block pricing, where pricing is dependent on even usage that people are using from their homegrown system for in SaaS environments. So the complexity comes in different ways, not just in product catalog, but we support both of those kinds of customer bases.
Amazing. All right. Keep those questions coming in the Q&A section next to the chat. Thank you, Michelle and Russ, for rating your current CPQ, right? And now I have the pleasure of introducing my buddy, Dan Norman. He's a solutions architect at HubSpot, discussing implementation sales hub for your organization, right? And Dan, in the briefing meeting, you were saying that you've architected hundreds of these kinds of solutions, right?
Well, maybe not me personally. I give the credit to my team. They're the actual brains behind the organization. They're the ones that do all the heavy lifting. So, but yeah, we've done a number of these for anywhere from small customers, but my team, the solutions architect team, concentrates mostly on our upmarket customers. Great. So what I'm going to be talking about today is really optimizing and implementing Mobileforce alongside Sales Hub. And I think there's really three main principles here that I'm going to be using. And that's going to be ease of use, seamless integration, and the fact that that Mobileforce is a certified marketplace app. First one, ease of use. Yeah, I think Jagadish covered a lot in detail of some of what you're going to see here as well too. But I think it really is one of the easiest CPQ applications to integrate with Sales Hub in our marketplace today. The way that sales reps are able to use this very efficiently, it's installed right with a CRM card in where the reps are going to be working. It's a one-click quote creation. It opens up into Sales Hub, so it feels like you're in the same system as a rep. It's going to be able to reduce that quote creation time to minutes rather than hours. I don't know how many times I've talked to some of our upmarket customers, and you'd be surprised how many are still using like these really complex spreadsheets with macros and all this logic built in. And as much as they try to lock it down, all it takes is one person to go in there and throw something off and it breaks something. Like this gives them the peace of mind and the ease of use where you're not having to worry about those really complex setup requirements for a spreadsheet. This is all in one system, and it feels like one system for your reps as well too, to help with those efficiencies. The next piece is the seamless integration here. If we could flip, perfect. Full bi-directional integration with HubSpot. There are a number of properties across the board. I know Jagadish touched on many of these here as well too. Companies, contacts, deals, products that we have the ability to have that bi-directional sync. So when that quote opens up for your rep, a lot of that information is already populated in there. They're going to be able to go through what feels like a very simple process, but on the back end can be incredibly complex of how folks set up their rules engines. It can be if-and statements, logic statements back there. And that's the beauty of using Mobileforce with Sales Hub, is the fact that Mobileforce makes it super easy to set all of this up. So when it gets to your rep, it's super easy for them to go ahead and build their quote on the fly. So the last thing that I want to touch on here is the fact that it is a certified marketplace app, where there's over 100 installs that we have here. It installs within minutes, and then you have your setup behind the scenes here. It's one of our only fully 100% 5-star rated apps on the marketplace as well. So I know that Mobileforce is very proud of that. And it is really like a guided setup there as well. The link there will be on the slides in the presentation that we share. But if you just go to our marketplace. You can search for Mobileforce and it'll pull right up, and you'll kind of see some more information there as well too. But certainly, like, I can't stress enough the ease of setup here and the ease of use for the folks that are going to be maintaining the system as well as using the system. So your admins as well as your salespeople.
Ooh, that's a good one. Dan, are quote approvers set up in HubSpot or Mobileforce or both? Who knows that?
That's going to be a Jagadish question. I believe it's,
Yeah,
I know they
yeah.
have multi-level approvals, so they can set up
yeah.
various different levels there. That's one of the complexity pieces that I think some of our upmarket customers require the most, and that we hear most frequently, is the ability to have tiered type of approval process.
Yeah,
Okay,
the actual users themselves are in HubSpot, and the roles in the teams, so we automatically pull it from HubSpot. But once they're pulled into Mobileforce, those profiles, the actual approver groups are set up under the CPQ setup, and those users and roles show up there, and they can just configure it.
Awesome. All right, a question for Dan Norman. Where does Mobileforce help close the gap, specifically for upmarket customers that require a more robust quoting tool than the native like quoting integration in HubSpot?
Ooh, that's a good one. You know, I think that it really comes down to those more intricate needs that our upmarket customers have. And I think some of the most common things that I hear talking with our customers are, we just talked about multi-level approval process, complex logic. So you think if and statements, configurations, price books, integration with some of the signature platforms like a DocuSign. So I think as you get into more of those upmarket customers, the mature sales process, those are the things that I hear the most, that I think sets Mobileforce apart from, say, our native quoting solution within HubSpot. Certainly, there's quite a few more, but those are probably my top 5, if you'll call them that.
How about you, Jagadish? Anything you want to jump in on that in regard to your experience and perspective?
Yeah, he's covered most of it. I think the ones where I think the extensibility is where I think we can help. You know, what happens is most organizations, their sales motions and routes to market. So when I say sales motions, you know, exactly the steps their sellers follow in terms of how they go through the sales cycle, collecting information from prospective clients, putting together a quote, and then sharing it. That differs from customer to customer, right? Everybody has their own process they love to follow, and they have their playbook and they have their best practice. So you want a system that will mold itself, adapt itself well to that sales process, not the other way around. You don't want a static system that they have to learn something new and they have to adapt their process to that. And that's one thing where we excel in. We have a very highly configurable, we call it no code, but basically the idea is without writing any code, you can adapt even the seller experience, the actual workflow, the step-by-step things and the fields that you use and all of that, how it's laid out, what the experience the seller follows, can be adapted by sales operations or revenue operations teams to closely match what the sellers ideally prefer in their organization. And so that's one area where we're very flexible and extensible. So that makes it easy, that drives up adoption. The other piece that I want to talk about is the route to market, which is a lot of our customers don't just all sell direct. They sell direct, they sell indirect. They have indirect partners, distributors, and others. So our system under one roof not only enables their direct sellers to have a CPQ that they can use to sell, but they can also expose this in a branded self-service experience to external partners and distributors who would sell the same products and solutions, but potentially with different set of rules and margins and all that kind of thing that's factored in, and it can connect back. So the ability to serve all the routes to market and the different sales motions is, I think, that flexibility is something that we excel at.
Amazing. Incredible. Thank you very much, Dan. Thank you, Jagadish. Thank you, Michael. All right, attendees, rate the presentation on a scale of 1 to 10, right? Very interested to see if we hit the mark in delivering the information. We hit the time mark pretty well. We wanted to deliver it to you. All right, Piros gives us a 9. Thank you, Piros. How about you, Michelle?
We can give bribes too. We can give bribes.
There we go. Awesome. Right. What we're trying to do is, in a very short period of time, explain why in December of 2024, this is so important. And if you're experienced in understanding exactly where your sales team, it's friction. This is one of the biggest challenges that we've seen. And we now have verifiable proof that we understand with Sales Hub and Mobileforce how to solve it. All right. Very, very good. And Philip, our producer, by the way, thank you very much, Philip, for all of your preparation and help. Attendees, you'll get a copy of this presentation, the recording, as well as the slides, so that you could forward it and make sure that everybody in your organization who is thinking about the transition to a potential superior technology can get it. And thanks so much to the speakers, Dan and Jagadish and Michael, for your preparation and sharing your extensive knowledge of how this works. All right, so Michelle, thank you very much. There's 5 or 6 great questions that we'll get to that were answered in Q&A. Thank you, Jagadish, but want to answer them to the whole group. Michelle says her challenge is more relating to getting HubSpot CRM to work, right? And need assistance there, and how we integrate that into a Mobileforce, which where's the link of, if somebody has a question about Sales Hub or HubSpot CRM, who are they supposed to email? They're supposed to email somebody. It's on a slide up here, Philip.
Yep, right here.
Okay, very, very good. So send an email to sales@hubspot.com, Michelle, and somebody will cycle back, right? And your growth specialist and potentially a solutions architect will work with you to make sure that you have the right stuff, right? We want to make sure that all of the HubSpot technology you're using is first rate, and you understand how the basics work.
One thing I wanted to chime in there,
go.
Dan, just to add to that is, we work very closely with lots of solutions partners in the HubSpot ecosystem. We ourselves are a solutions partner as well. So we all have experience implementing not just HubSpot, but also all the integrations. So certainly reach out to us. In your case, of course, it's more CRM related that they can help. But beyond that, if you're interested in doing an assessment of your existing RLM, CPQ that you have in place, and if this could be a good fit for you, or areas of where we could actually improve and do things better, we are here. Just reach out to us. We have assessments that we could do very easily and come up with some recommendations. We'd love to engage in that discussion.
Awesome. Thank you very much. A question for Michael Walton. Why is Sales Hub? What are the top 3 reasons Sales Hub is winning in the marketplace for upmarket and enterprise accounts today?
Oh, no, that's a good question. I think actually it's not a top 3. I'd break it down to 2 to even be more concise, but I may have A, B, and C underneath each. I'd say like it's both, like one in terms of like the value of the platform broadly is really like winning hearts and minds. And then 2, I'd say the sophistication. From the value, I hit on some of these things in our talk, but like it really is easy to adopt. So when you buy a piece of software like this and you have a lot of reps, a lot of people, like if you spend all this time and money and energy to implement the solution, but then reps aren't actually adopting the solution, it falls completely flat. And one of the things we've done with our amazing user experience is really nail that like experience that is easy for reps to adopt. It's also very easy to get not easy, it's fast to get value over this. We built this thing from the ground up. Hasn't been cobbled together through a bunch of different applications. And it was built with power in mind. So customization is very, very straightforward in this piece. We see things like an average time to implementation around 35 days. That's even for large customers. That's an average across a very large customer base. Some it'll vary for people, but it is just relatively fast to get time to value. And lastly, is just like, is this perspective we give you on a unified perspective of your customers or your prospects. Like it is a large, expansive data platform that can give you both the stored data that you have in your CRM, but bring behavioral information and aligns that background, just a single unified profile of your customer or prospect that then can be leveraged to drive intelligence, to give insights to your reps, to give perspective into things like, Michelle, you're asking forecasting and things along those lines. So that it's a combination of those 3, being easy to adopt, fast to get value, and providing that unified value. I would also just the second B inside of there, or number 2, was it really is very customizable from that perspective. And I'd argue it's also highly extensible. If you look at our marketplace, we have well over 1,500 apps. Almost any app and integration you can think of is in that thing. So if you have an integration you need to bring in-house, or you need data to get into a system, it usually works. And so those are the 2 main components of why I think we're winning our market deals.
Amazing. Jagadish, is moving to more efficient CPQ a reason to change your CRM decision, in your opinion?
I think there's a couple of things that goes, just to add to what Michael said. It's all about putting the power in the hands of the practitioners, right? So if you think about the practitioners, the operations teams, in sort of many of the established CRM CPQ systems are there. This is not a new space, right? This is undergoing a lot of change and a lot of innovation. and if you've already implemented one for several years, you probably are already familiar that from a practitioner's perspective, a lot of it is coding driven, takes a long time. Let's say you want to add new rules, new pricing, new bundling, new promotions, and stuff like that. It's not as agile. It's not as easy as you could do. So what we've done is we've put a lot of focus on making it a true SaaS environment for administrators as well, not just for end users, right? How do you bring that ease of use that Michael talked about, not just for your end users, of course, that's given, but also for your administrators and operators. And that's where I think we can really move the needle to make it easier to manage and to quickly take new business initiatives and actually operationalize it. Help them operationalize it. So you come up with a new promotion idea, a new bundle idea. It shouldn't take you 6 months for your sellers to be able to operationally sell it. It should be a matter of days. And there's a lot of emphasis around that. That speeds up the time to revenue.
All right, Dan Norman, what are the top reasons you see for people switching to HubSpot Sales Hub and Mobileforce?
I think to double down on where Michael was going, it does come down to a platform play and an ease of use overall. I think when folks are looking at their tech stack and some of the technical debt that they have, there's a wide breadth. They've got 10, 15, 20, 25 different applications that they're trying to run their business, and it gets unruly. Some people forget some of the things that they have installed to run their business. So I think when folks are looking at HubSpot and they're looking at just the sheer amount of power that we can provide them from just HubSpot alone, and then you add on some of the extensibility and the ease of use there and seamless integrations, and being able to reduce that technical debt as well as standardize or slim down your tech stack at the same time, thus saving costs in there too. That's certainly a piece of it. I think that's a hugely compelling reason or reasons why folks are switching.
Amazing. All right. So another question, we've seen a lot of top of the funnel use cases for Breeze AI, HubSpot's implementation of AI. Michael first, then Jagadish,
Sure.
and then Dan, if you'd like. Can you share a bit about how you envision Sales Hub leveraging AI for revenue, lifecycle management, and quote to cash workflows?
Sure. I can even take it like one level higher. I think you've seen Breeze Intelligence have a lot of utility in the marketing world. And when you bring it down into the sales world, there's a ton of opportunity to leverage it for opportunity management and like deal management as well as I think like getting the CPQ and quote to cash. I'll let Jagadish jump in on that piece in a second. I think in terms of opportunity management and deal management broadly there's a ton. And I put them into two broad perspectives. One is helping to prioritize their relationships and then helping to progress the relationships. When you think about like the book of business that a sales rep is working, it's usually pretty vast. There's a lot of things going on, and there's no way they can process every single signal imaginable going on internally, externally on third-party sites. So AI is really helpful at bringing that information in and putting it into perspective and helping guide people towards like what's the right opportunity to focus on at the right time. We do that through things like predictive deal scoring, which is powered by Breeze Intelligence and things along those lines. In terms of then actually progressing those relationships or opportunities, this really comes down to being able to take actions. And there's usually people have a well-defined sales process in some instances, which is helpful. But sometimes you get bits of information that come in that the sales rep wasn't aware of. So things like, hey, your target account is on your pricing page 3 times in the last 24 hours. That's a signal you'd want to know about and to have that actually drive and recommend an action for your rep to take. So we're leveraging AI pretty heavily on that progressing of relationships as well. You'll see that materializing in our AI-powered guided action solution. But I think you're also right. It goes down into the sort of the CPQ and the quote management as well. Jagadish, do you want to chime in on that part?
Yeah. Thanks, Michael. A couple of areas similar to that. We focus on utilizing AI first from helping the seller, right? On the seller side, it's really all about guided selling and sort of product recommendation. If the system is intelligent enough to figure out, hey, based on either the customer attribute, deal attributes, and past history, what are potential products and services that could be of interest to them? And you automatically prepare the quote and get it up and running so that they don't have to start from scratch. That's one area. That always helps, especially as you have new people coming into Salesforce and they're trying to get it ramped up. They can be productive faster because they don't have to go out and depend on tribal knowledge to figure out what to quote, when to quote, etc. Right? So the system can kind of guide them. So product recommendation engine is one area where I think we believe AI can truly move the needle and help. Similarly, on the administrative front, there's a lot of pain around being able to manage and continually operationalize. Going back to the previous point I made about making operators' jobs easier, right? I mean, if they always have new products, new promotions, new ways of bundling things that people are innovating, new go-to-market strategies. It would be great if you could just use natural language, right, to be able to talk to the system and say, hey, I would like to do something like this, and it goes and figures out what rules need to be put in place or what templates need to be created in order to facilitate that and operationalize it. So a lot of that administrative function, instead of you having to code it or kind of do it from scratch, if the system can take more natural language kind of commands and convert that would speed things up from an administration perspective. So those are the two areas we are focused on in terms of applying the power of AI.
All right, awesome. Implementation question, Dan. Like everybody says, it's quick and easy to use. How quickly and painlessly can someone get started with Sales Hub? And then can you go into the next level of detail, how you spec out like an implementation and migration approaches if you're a mid-market or enterprise customer?
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to steal some of Michael and Jagadish's previous content here, because that's what we do. We take it from the smart folks and reapply it here. Now, I think Michael mentioned earlier that average time to implement, even to our upmarket customers, is right around 35 days. Certainly, it can be done quicker, but I think 35 days is incredibly quick time to implement as well too, and implement successfully. I think that's the piece here that I think we need to stress. And how do we do that? What's the best approach? Jagadish mentioned earlier our community of partners that we use, and I think that is one of the most powerful pieces of HubSpot is our partners that we have out there that help us with the implementations. They're experts in their fields across the board, whether it is from a product perspective, Sales Hub, Marketing, Service Hub. And then you've got folks that are also verticalized by industry that have specializations there. And I think there's just a wealth of knowledge there that can help assist you in getting the right implementation done. And I will always maintain that working with partners and then working with our internal consulting services is like the best 1-2 punch combo that you could imagine. Having HubSpot and a partner on your back, or having your back to implement, you're going to see success more times than not there with the co-implementation.
All right, and
Dan.
how about ERP integration? There was one specific about NetSuite, but general ERP integration between Sales Hub and Mobileforce and NetSuite and other ERPs.
Is this directed to me here?
Let's go
So I can take
Jagadish
it,
first.
Yeah.
No, you go first, Dan.
Okay.
You go first.
I was going to say we have a number of native integrations with other tools out there available via the marketplace. But then I think Michael also mentioned earlier that we have the ability to do a lot of customization within HubSpot as well. And I think we've seen some pretty intricate ERPs out there that we've worked with. At least my team has worked with, where our partners have built very elegant solutions with HubSpot and their ERP that they're using, whether that's a homegrown ERP or something that's out in the marketplace, like an Oracle or NetSuite, SAP. So yeah, there is the ability to integrate with ERPs out there.
All right, I'm going to throw this to all three of you. Does CPQ have a deal room or a digital experience to co-create solutions with my customer?
Yeah, I was just answering that question on that. Yes, we do. We do have a customer and a partner-facing self-service experience that can be branded. So yeah, just feel free to get in touch with us. We can go through that and cover more detail. It can be configured to have the elements that you want. So you could have a partner-facing portal, if you will, that can plug into a broader partner portal if you already have one. And that will allow partners to collaborate on a deal or even prepare quotes. From a customer perspective, they can view it, transact, or comment on it, along with seeing other assets that may be something that you add along with the quotes, whether it's spec sheets or videos or other kinds of things. So yes, please do get in touch
Okay,
with us.
we're going to do that next time. We're going to have our product demo next time. That's what I want to see, with a partner in one corner, and then Michael Walton can be like a customer. He can even be a gruffy customer if he wants, like pounding the table, like change that and change that, because that is amazing. And that is why we want to get people moving now, because in the AI age, things will move very, very quickly. If you have the fundamental foundation of doing basic CPQ and advancing that, reducing that friction, it makes a huge difference. And then if you can integrate it into ERP, right, it does so much to accelerate the value, the time to revenue, right? And I know that's the whole reason we're at this webinar.
Well,
All right,
That's
other
good.
questions? How did we do? Is that good information to help you understand timing, ease of use, implementation? Put a scale of 1 to 10 in the chat pane. I know you already did. Got lots of 8s and 9s. Thank you very much. But I want to make sure we're spot on. Next time, I want to see that demo and maybe a schematic of this is how we would implement something like that. Good info. Thanks, Michelle. Russ gave me an 8. We didn't up it to 8.5. I was trying, Russ. Maybe it's another dad joke that I got to put in. But like, no, we appreciate you guys. There we go. Russ being a responsive attendee. I like that. All right. And you guys did all the great work. And that was super fun. A lot of preparation going into this. A great message, a great product, great value, right? And we want HubSpot customers who are evaluating Sales Hub. The integration with CPQ and Revenue Lifecycle Management can really move the dial and make it like a time to take action, right? All right, JW, send me an email, dantire@gmail.com, how we can improve it, because this is the first time we do it, but this is an important initiative for all companies. We want to make sure that we get it spot on for the next time. All right, any final questions or anything, Jagadish? You were doing some great stuff in the Q&A. Anyone that you want to announce, any questions that you would cover for the whole group that you think are valid?
Well, I think only thing I want to mention was that the whole offer of assessment, lots of people are on different journeys. This is something that more and more customers we are seeing are looking at their tech stack, the whole RLM piece now. This is a good time post-pandemic, because of a lot of different reasons. People are looking at it now and reevaluating their stack, and things have changed dramatically. This is not, if you look back 2-3 years back, it was a different set of capabilities that was available. There's a lot better capabilities that are available today. So we encourage you to take a look at it, contact us. We'd love to do a free assessment and have the discussion with you if it makes sense going into 2025.
All right. That was awesome. Any other closing questions before we end? Give you 5 minutes back in your day. Right, HubSpot and Mobileforce committed to helping mid-market and enterprise customers solve these difficult problems. Thanks to everybody. Dan Norman, unbelievable. Thank you very much, Jagadish, for sharing your knowledge. Michael Walton, you're a very busy man, and we super appreciate your visibility, your answers, your vision, and world-class product. And turbocharging Sales Hub in 2025. If you have any questions, all of the content and information is on the screen. I look forward for hearing it.
Awesome.
Thank you
Thank you
so
so much, Dan.
Appreciate it.